partner using the main boarding line?
Well, that was actually a really smooth flight, and I got my rental car, what is this? This is a Hyundai Accent. I picked it at random. And they've consolidated all the rental places into this one mammoth garage, and it's super fast to get your car and get out of here. So I'm going to hit up to Carlsbad. It is now 10:17 local time, which means my stomach thinks it's 1:17 and I have had nothing to eat. So I'll probably drive up to Carlsbad and eat because I'm very hungry. So I actually don't stay in San Diego. I stay in Carlsbad with some friends, and it's a lot nicer to get away from the con and stay here. Plus it's not crowded. So now I'm going to try to find somewhere to eat. Is what I am talking about. Done. So that was Sdcc. That's a Mexican place that I usually come to when I come down here. And now I feel a bit of a nap coming on. So I'm going to head back to the house where I'm staying. And what time is it? It's 11:44 a.m. here. So 11, 12, 1, so it's 2:44, almost 3 o'clock back home. So yeah. I'm tired. It's a little warm in the car too. So I'm walking around in shorts and a t-shirt, and I feel overdressed. Everybody's coming in off the beach soaking wet for lunch, and lots of surfers here. I've never surfed. I don't care to surf. I would probably break my neck surfing. So those are my feelings on surfing. So for a few years, the first several years that I did San Diego, I stayed in a hotel with some friends. And I remember one year, I think there was at least one night where I was on the floor, and there must have been 6 or 7 of us in the room. And but for the last 8 years, I've been staying in Carlsbad. And the nice thing about it is that I can leave the show whenever I want and come back to a place that's not overwhelmed with the show. Also, given the choice between splitting a room with a bunch of dudes and this, I'll take this. And being from North Carolina, one of the first things that I realized about Southern California, growing up in North Carolina in the 70s and 80s, California might as well have been the moon because we never traveled or anything. And but once I got out here, I realized that every sci-fi show, every Star Trek planet, every setting in Knight Rider, even the Andy Griffith Show and some of the background outdoor shots, all of it is Southern California. Those brownish hills and those little bushes and stuff. So that's probably obvious to everybody, but that was my big takeaway the first time I came here. Illusion broken. This backyard overlooks the neighborhood down there. I think the ocean is just way over there. I think that's the way I'm facing. So anyway, not a too shabby trip out here. It's a train going somewhere. Way over there. It's probably the coaster going down to San Diego. There's a hummingbird feeder right there. Up there, I think there's some drama going on between who. Oh, there's a hummingbird in it. Like you can't see it in the video. But I think there's one that was pushed away. Bird drama. On the way out here, I did on the second flight. It was one of those planes that have the 3 seats on each side. So there's an aisle, center, and window. And I had gotten the window, but when I got there, a guy, there was a flight attendant, and the guy was more bird drama. Hummingbirds are pushy. They're pushy. He was trying to sit with his children, so I switched seats with him, and I ended up in the center aisle. And I don't know if they were worried that I was whoever, you know, they were going to be dealing with the switch seats was going to be a problem. I didn't care. So they gave me a bag of trail mix for free, which was good because I hadn't eaten. The problem was I couldn't get it open because it was sealed so well. So American Airlines, while I appreciate the gesture, I didn't mind switching seats. You might want to make your bags of trail mix easier to open. It's just a constructive criticism from someone that had a fantastic flight with American Airlines. Much better than United. I really do not like you guys. And not just because of the whole beating up people stuff. I have not liked you for years. So I've mentioned before, I don't hate on Comicon like a lot of people seem to do, especially comic book artists, because Comic-Con is not so much about comics necessarily. There was the story about Mile High Comics, who had been here forever. They had the booth right at when you walked in, one of the front doors. They were right up front, and I think it's where Lou Ferrigno always set up. But they had a huge presence. They're not here anymore because they were spending something ridiculous for their thousands upon thousands of dollars. It might have been like $8,000 to $10,000 or something like that. I mean, it was they had a lot of space, and there was a snafu with last year with their books didn't get delivered by the union or whoever. Anyway, it was a big thing. And then I heard that Archie Comics isn't going to be here, even though they've got a TV show Riverdale, which I haven't seen. I don't really care, but they're not going to be here. And I don't know hardly anybody top tier artists will make money, but the vast majority of comic book artists are not the super famous comic book artists, but well-known working artists I know that don't make a lot of money. I set up one year, didn't make a lot of money, although I will say when I first did the show, the first year I came was 2006. That year we sold 200 copies of our indie book, which it was the first, being the first year we set up. I think of that now and I'm like, wow, 200 issues of a book, of a single issue at a show. It's crazy. Maybe we had 2 or 3 issues, but anyway, we sold 200 books. I would never count on that now, having been around for a while and been doing this for over a decade. That just seems so bizarre to me now. But when I was working on Doctor Who in 2011 and I set up, I didn't make hardly anything. I get more mileage out of this show walking around, talking to editors, just meeting people I usually don't get to see. And in the middle of it, I get to relax a little bit and come out here. But a lot of industry on the comic side have a love-hate, some a hate-hate relationship with Comic-Con, because it really is a media event. And I don't see. They're not going to change that. But there's so many comic conventions. If this is what Comic-Con has become and what it is, that's fine. There really isn't another thing like it. New York, kind of getting there. But the weird thing about New York versus San Diego, because New York, I think, attendance-wise, is right behind this show. They're kind of neck and neck, and there's a huge media presence there too. But all the artists I know in New York, they make tons of money. I mean, that was my best show for just selling art, making money at a show, and I heard that from everybody. This was before they moved where Artist Alley, because they're renovating it, and so this year it'll be interesting to see if the dynamics are the same. But it's weird that you can have such a huge media presence there, but there's so many people there that want to buy original art from artists. Here, all the money seems to go to exclusives. Maybe it's that there are more exclusives for Comic Con, that people are spending their money over here and on art. I don't know what it is. Um, but I realized pretty early on that, and I don't know how small press guys, I set up in small press, this has been again over 10 years ago, twice. And I remember we made the most money at the show. And I remember going back to the hotel room with my friend Marty, and we just had this big wad of cash, like $2,000 or something. That, for us at the time was unprecedented. And then you start figuring in, okay, they paid this for the table, and then we paid for the hotel. We really didn't make any money. We broke even. So small press people they hear year after year. I don't know how you guys afford it. I'm assuming um, they make money or I don't know. But once you get a table, you don't want to let it go because you probably won't get it again. For me in Artist Alley tables are comped, so uh, it's hard to get one because Artist Alley is shrinking, and no guarantee you'll get one year to year. So I got one. I was denied a year, then I got one. I don't even think I tried the next year. Like I said, my whole deal with this show is just coming, and it's the only show that I really. This is the only show that I just attend as an attendee because it's such a different animal. I wouldn't do it in New York because New York is just same amount of people in a confined space. Um, not as fun. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know how small press. The interesting thing, if you have a table at Comic Con, that uh, you get a lot of business cards from producers and people. I mean, a lot of them are legit too, because they're looking for properties. But you get a lot of cards and talk to a lot of people, and that will go nowhere. And I say, in comics specifically, don't get excited until the check clears. And at Comic Con, when you first come, you come away with all these cards and production places and agents and people that want to develop things and stuff. And 99.9% of them you'll never hear from again, or what. So, not to say it's not worth it. I mean, I have met a few good contacts that way, but the vast majority is, and I've talked to other people, it's kind of the same thing. Um, your first year you come, you get that, and you're like, you get kind of excited, and then you kind of, after a couple of years, you realize what the deal is. It's like they're just casting their nets and seeing what handing out of cards at your table is in excess, like everything else at Comic Con. It's excess. Um, but I still have fun at this show, and the reason I still have fun at this show is because I just come as an attendee, and I can come and go and leave the show as I please. So, like I said, I don't have a problem with it. It does get overwhelming. There's lots of stuff I don't care about at the show, honestly, because I've come long enough to see whatever a lot of big TV show announcements, right? And I've seen a lot of big TV show announcements at Comic Con that it's the big thing, and there's advertisements everywhere, and they're on the side of the hotel, the skyscraper hotel things. And you see ads everywhere, and a year later, that show has been canceled, or that movie flopped, or this thing is it's not. The next year you come, and that's old news. It doesn't matter. 6 months later, it doesn't matter. So the whole thing is very ephemeral. It's very fast. It's a lot of the big what they try to make the big draws are fleeting, and most of them will flop. Um, they're here to promote, try to get attention to whatever the next big thing is, uh, and then I mean, there's one or two things you see that don't flop, and they're really good. But I try to find the things tucked away in corners that, like art and paintings and things that you can't see anywhere else, and books you can't find anywhere else. And that's just kind of what I'm here for. Just the little things. And I haven't been here in 2 years, so there might be a lot of stuff that I haven't seen. But in the past, 80% of it's the same setup every year from different. It's just like new products, but a lot of the displays and a lot of things you seen before. So some thoughts on uh, Comicon, and that's kind of where I'm at. This, what is today? Tuesday afternoon before Comicon. Um, so this was me getting here. I'm going to be doing multiple uploads for the rest of the week, possibly more than one a day. So this was just kind of me getting here. I cut out the boring parts, which was sitting in an airplane staring at the back of the seat. Actually, I read Steve Martin's autobiography, Born Standing Up, which is a fantastic book, and you should read it. I don't care who you are, you should read it. It's actually really, really fascinating. It just chronicles his stand-up career from the late 60s to when he just basically just walked off stage and never did it again. And it was really fascinating. I actually read it, the entire thing, on the plane, start to finish, and it was like the perfect length for a 4-hour flight. So you all should go check that out. It's a good insight into fame, and how fame doesn't always deliver. So anyway, that'll do it for this particular episode. I may do another one today. I may not. Today's a lazy day, but from here on out, keep checking back and subscribe. A little icon down there, and I will see you next video.